Okay, I finished my first 3 placemats. I'll just give you a quick overview of those. I just used a ruler to go around the outside edges of each one, and then I just put some good sized swirls edge to edge on there. So there are those first 3, and then here's my table runner. It's all done. I love seeing them when they come off of the quilting machine. All right, I have 7 more placemats to go. Then I have a lot of binding to make and so on. I don't remember how much of this fabric I bought to start with a few years back, but I've already backed 2 throw size quilts with it, at least that much. And then this will be my, I think my 3rd time to use this. And so this should take care of most of it. I'll probably have a few scraps left, but other than that, this should be about the end of this one. Alright, I'm going to trim that selvage off. See how much I have to work with there. So trim that selvage off and it'll still be a good 1/2 inch. And then I'll press that open, and then I'll be ready to put it back on the long arm. Well, I have all of my placemats quilted, but I'm just working on getting the first one bound. I have all of these quilted. They're not trimmed up yet, so I still have to trim them up and then make binding and get those all done. I do have my table runner quilted and bound. So there it is. All finished. But I did want to show you how I'm binding these. I'm using a new to me way that I've been working on and practicing on. I'll show you a little bit on the table runner here. See, it looks like it's stitched onto the front and then hand stitched down on the back just to look at the front of it. But if you look at the back, you'll see that it is machine stitched on the back. So I'm going to show you how I do that little trick, and on this one here. It takes a little while to get the hang of it. I think I'm about to get it, hopefully. Most of the time I get it pretty good. So what I do is I sew it onto the front, and then I iron it over. I don't put any glue or anything like that on it. I've seen some people do that. Use a glue stick to glue it down. I do iron it out so that it's nice and smooth. And then I'm just folding it over. Now, if I was doing a big quilt, I would not clip it all the way around. I'd clip it a little ways at a time. But since it's a small thing like this, I was able to do that. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm putting my, I've moved my, I need a pointer, sorry. Let's see. Where is my pointer? Here it is. It's my pointer. Alright, so I have flipped it all down. I'm using 2.5 inch. Fold it over, make it like normal. Fold it over. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance to stitch it on with. Now I'm putting my needle, I used a walking foot for this because I was at the church and I already had a walking foot on my machine up there. I have a machine up there that's just like this one, but it's set up with a walking foot because I do mostly binding up there, because I have room to do it there. Okay, so I've got my needle set on number 5.5 for my width, and I've got my clear foot on, and I'm dropping my needle. My needle just clears this edge of my foot. So I'm dropping my needle right there, and this edge lines up almost perfectly with this side of my clear foot. This is an open toe clear foot. It has a little red mark right in the center if you want to center your needle there, but in this case I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to stitch right along this, stitch in the ditch right here, and it should pick up that edge on the back. And I'm using a matching thread color with my binding because it's going to be stitched on that, and it won't show on here hardly at all anyway. So let me show you how that will go. Hopefully it'll go right. I do happen to get a little bit on this. It's not ideal, but it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm going to turn it over to number 6. Move it over just a little bit, because I think I did get a little bit of an edge on that. There we go, that's better. And I turned this light off back here so that it wouldn't produce a glare for the camera. So I might not be seeing as well as I should. Try to keep my hand out of the way. When I get to that corner, I'll just turn it. Keep that on there because I'm not done with that yet. See how we did? Not too bad. Yeah, I definitely needed to put it over one more to the number 6 on my width. Sorry about the sleeve in the way. It's turned off a little bit cool here today. I'm in North Texas. It's been hot up until this week, so. So I can do it this way. It's a little bit of a slow process, but I think it's looking really good on the front. Not too bad on the back either. All right. The only thing I'm not real happy about is where at the beginning where I went up on that. Just a little bit, but you know what? It's going to be washed a lot. That's at the bottom of it. It's going to be washed and dried a lot, so it's going to get a lot of use. And that's what most of my quilts that I keep are going to do, is they're going to be used. Okay, so there's one of these finished. Table runner is finished, and I have all of these to get trimmed and bound. So you probably won't see these again unless you see them on my table. I might bring you in and show you that when I get it all set up. I did learn one thing about some of these fabrics. I do not like working with this kind of fabric here. I think it's called woven. It ravels really bad and it stretches and moves a lot. and it's just not my favorite. I would rather have, now that one wasn't too bad, but this one here, I don't know if it was because it was on the outside edge and it wanted to stretch on me while I was trying to quilt it or what. I think that's a woven too, and this one, and well, all of these except for that one, I guess, on this one are wovens. These didn't really give me a problem. I guess it's because they were on the inside and already stabilized around the edges. But that's just my personal thing. I prefer to work with the stamped or printed fabrics. But these are nice and soft. I mean, that is one good thing. If you're making a quilt, that would make a really soft quilt, I guess. I just wouldn't put it on my outside border, I don't think, again. Anyway, that's it for tonight. And hopefully you enjoyed this a little bit, and you might want to try one of these pumpkins. I have the video where I made the pumpkin block, and then I have the video where I made the placemat, and then so now this finishes it up. Alright, so here's a little bit better view of the table runner and the pumpkin placemats. There's the one finished one, and there's the stack of unfinished ones. They're quilted though, that's the main thing. And I can just do one or two at a time and get them all done. I hope you'll give this pumpkin a try. It's a good scrap project. You have a lot of scraps, florals, regular oranges and browns and greens, different fall colors. Well, thanks a lot for joining me on my little pumpkin block making adventure. This is my first time to make placemats and my first time to make a table runner, and I really enjoyed it, and hope that you did too. Just joining me in this little learning adventure. Thank you so much for watching, and y'all have an awesome week. God bless.